In this video, we're going to talk about a finer point in the traffic pattern, one that I think can benefit everybody.
I'm Jason Miller, a full-time professional flight instructor. On the Finer Points channel, you can join me as I bring you tips and tricks that I've learned from 20 years on the flight line.
First of all, let's talk about a known power setting, your traffic pattern power setting. If you don't have something like that up your sleeve, you should figure it out. This makes everything easier. Pitch plus power equals performance. If you know the power setting in the aircraft you're flying, you can just arrive at a traffic pattern and pitch to the traffic pattern altitude, and you'll get the performance you want. Okay, what is the performance you want in the traffic pattern? It's some speed faster than the speed you need to start maneuvering to land, but not so fast that you're a hazard to everybody else in the pattern or you're annoying to air traffic control. The power setting I use in the pattern, if I'm flying a Cirrus SR-22, for example, is 40% power. That keeps the speed in the range that will allow me to configure for landing, but it's also fast enough that I'm not executing slow flight or in danger of losing control of the airplane. If I'm in a Cessna 172, which I often am, that power setting is 2200 RPM. When you set the traffic pattern power setting in the pattern, you're a little bit faster than the speed you want to be at after the abeam position. After the abeam position, you're reconfiguring the aircraft. Some cases you're going power to idle, Cirrus maybe back to 20% power, but you're starting to add flaps, you're starting to slow down, and you're starting to go down. Okay, you're starting to reconfigure the airplane for landing. Whatever speed you use in the pattern before that moment, it should be a bit faster than that speed so that you have time to configure the aircraft at the abeam position. Let's use the example of a 172 doing power off approaches, call it runway 25 here at my home base. In the traffic pattern, you want your power setting at 2200 RPM, which will have your speed be about 100 or 105 knots. 85 is the speed you want on the downline after you pull power to idle. So there you are flying along at 100 or 105 knots and you arrive at the beam position. Power comes to idle. You hold the nose because you want to slow down and not go down. You are below 110, so flaps go in. You count basically 1, 1000, 2, 1000, 3, 1000, and then you pitch forward to fly the downline at 85 knots. If you're slower than you want to be before you start that process of pulling power to idle, adding flaps, and descending, well, then you're going to be really slow when you start that downline, and that screws everybody up, right? So if you're at 85 knots already and you pull the power to idle, and 1, 1000, 2, 1000, now you're 75, 70, 65, and now you're basically at final approach speed, but still in the downwind, all right? It's hard to recover from a bad approach. That's the reason we use the traffic pattern power setting. So I'm gonna show you an example, just so you remember. Don't make the mistake that my student made recently here on this example I'm gonna show you. Everything looks great when we get into the pattern. The pattern power setting of 2200 is there, the speed's on target, but for some unknown reason, my student starts to pull the power back and slow down early. Like there's not a clean beam position. And I see this all the time. I don't mean to pick on Kevin. A lot of students do this. They'll be looking out the window at the runway. They know they're coming up on the beam position, so they kind of just fudge the power back. You need a clean, distinct point where you go from the pattern power setting to whatever change or idle, whatever you're going to do to the engine, put the flaps in and start the downline at 85, okay? So that's where you're joining this. Let's check out what happened.
In Nevada County, Skyhawk 9RNR24 Victor, downwind runway 25, Nevada County.
Okay, can you see right there where Kevin starts to pull the power back, right? Almost subconsciously, the aircraft starts to slow down, and this is gonna leave us slow when we finally do pull the power to idle.
Okay, beam the numbers.
Somehow we got all the way down to 2000 RPM there. You see that before you pulled idle? Okay.
Yep.
You're gonna pay for that right now. Like you might get a little slow.
1002, 1003.
And pitch forward. See how you're at 80?
Yep.
That's because we slowed down before you pulled the power to idle, right?
Okay.
Power comes to idle though, all the way to idle. There you go. And then you can turn base.
So that's a mistake that I want you guys to be aware of. I don't want you to make that mistake, but most importantly, I want you to figure out what is the traffic pattern power setting that works in your airplane and make sure you have that as a go-to anytime you're operating in the traffic pattern. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that Finer Points tip. Remember, we have a webinar coming up with Mike Bush of Savvy Aviation on January 30th. Those are always free. Just visit learnthefinerpoints.com. There's a whole archive of webinars there for you to watch. Really, really valuable stuff, and I'm excited to talk to Mike again about preventative maintenance, his opinion on whether or not TBOs really matter, and how renter pilots can start to consider moving into the world of ownership. Leave a comment below if there's a video you'd like to see. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you check out your free 3-day trial of the Ground School app. There are 2 courses in there now. You get access to everything, unlimited access, one price. It will make you a safer, more confident pilot. Definitely check it out, but most importantly, until I see you again, be safe and fly your best.